Yes, you read that right. I did shoot a whole music video, a real music video with the ZV-E10 and the Tamron 17 to 70mm and nothing else. Well, I did use an ND filter, so. Hey everyone, welcome back to Zero Gravity. I'm just gonna link the video, the music video right now, down there in the card, so you can go check that out. And other than that, I'm gonna talk about like how this video is going to be. I'm sorry. So we're gonna talk about first some housekeeping stuff. I'm just gonna answer some quick questions, and then I will talk to you about the experience with the camera and the gear in general. And we're gonna talk about some post-production stuff as I'm seeing, and that's gonna be the whole thing, and the timestamps, right there. All right, let's do some housekeeping first. My friend was directing it, so like if we were to use some fancy terms, she was directing it and I was the DP. I was co-directing it and the DP, but I don't even know if I'm qualified to say I'm a DP or a cinematographer, but it's my channel. I guess I'm saying that now. So the briefing was clear. So this is a rap music video, which to be honest, I'm not very familiar with the music genre or the video genre, and they wanted to have the look of like a 90s rap video vibe. That was the vibe that we were going for, and I had to do some research because, like I said, I'm not super familiar with the whole genre. That's okay if you are, not judging or anything. By the way, Oasis is back together, which I should have done a whole video about that. How excited I was. Okay, well then. Like I said, we shot with the ZV-E10 and the Tamron 17 to 70. I did not have a cage on the ZV-E10, and I did not have a top handle either, which in hindsight, again, was a big mistake. It's really good to have those. Of course, with the handheld shooting style too, it would have been really nice to have that, but I didn't have that, so it was okay. Before stabilization, dynamic range was not a problem at all. I don't think dynamic range, I mean, it's the thing is, ZV-E10 is not made, the Mark I or Mark II, they're not made for like professional shoots. Like, let's be honest. I think the entry-level professional thing would have been an FX30 or the Panasonic S5 X2X would have been, of course, the professional solution to that. But again, I didn't have that. We didn't have the budget to do that, to get some lights, to get a camera, or nothing like that. We had basically no budget. Just I was just using my own stuff. But again, I don't think the dynamic range on the ZV-E10 was bad at all. At that point, I think it did do the job very well. And the thing is, like, if you don't know how to use how to expose an image or how to frame an image, it doesn't really matter at that point if you have an Arri Alexa Mini LF or Red Komodo or a ZV-E10 for that matter. So that's the first point, which just comes down to the second point too, and that's the 8-bit 420 image. Was it a problem? I mean, in the interior shots it was kind of like harder to grade, but honestly it didn't make a huge problem of it. I would really rather to have a 10-bit 422 or like a raw thing, just to have the flexibility in post to do a lot more, and you're just much more creative, I think, at some point. But the thing also on that is, I think if you don't know how to grade an 8-bit 420 image, you will not know how to grade a 10-bit 422 image or 14-bit raw image, whatever it is. And at that point, I think I have to say that I am pretty confident in my talent, in my capabilities, that I'm using 100% of this camera, 120% of the capabilities of this camera in post-production or in the production side. So yeah, I don't know, that's a weird flex, I guess, but okay, I'm just gonna talk about the stabilization now, which was the biggest issue with the whole thing, with the whole clip. Again, handheld look, ZV-E10, not a great match. Lack of IBIS. I did have the active stabilization on. I did run everything through Catalyst Browse, which was just so unnecessary step. Like, it has to be. I think I was talking about, okay, my camera just died. Not even died, it overheated for the second time. we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But I mean, you can't script this, man. I did run everything through Catalyst Browse. I did use the extra stabilization in the DaVinci Resolve too. But the thing is, the lack of IBIS with the awful rolling shutter and this sensor is just not made for handheld shooting, not made for vlogging, which is again the biggest pet peeve with this camera. Other than that, perfect camera, very good camera, perfect. Yeah, as far as the battery and overheating goes, and it's a good part to talk about that. Battery, I went through 2 full batteries, and the third one was at 40% when I was done with the whole shoot, and we were shooting for about 3 to 4 hours. Overheating, I did not have any overheating issues, which is weird because we were outside and it was like 26 degrees, 28 degrees, and the inside was also like 24 degrees or something, and I never had an overheating issue. And but like right now I had an overheating issue, and it's not like even it's 25 degrees inside, it's not like sun is not coming to it. I don't know, weird, but okay, we're just gonna continue, I guess. Okay. The exterior location was it's an overpass in the city that we live in. It was a very overcast day, and I did still shoot with ISO 500 and f2.8, but I just had the ND filter and I had to stop down like 2 stops for the whole thing. In the more darker areas of the overpass, I did remove the ND and I went up to 1000 ISO sometimes, which I don't think is a problem with this camera because first of all, the noise really wasn't that bad. We were also going with a grainy view, so it really didn't really matter. Interior location was kind of a different location. It was kind of a bar type of a thing, and it was very, very dark. We had a haze machine and we had some like red spotlights, which I'm pretty sure that I'm showing you some clips of it right now. And I had like, I was afraid that I was gonna have to put the ISO up to like 5,000, 6,000, 6,400 or something like that, which I think I shot everything with 5,000. The noise is a bit distracting, but honestly the grain saves a lot of it. Other than that, there was one tiny window, some like daylight coming in, but again overcast day, so it was just like a overall general light. And I had the Shure T30 with me, which is a lifesaver, I must add to that. That's gonna be okay, sorry. I think the interior location was also the hardest to grade, which we're gonna take a look at in the post-production. But other than that, we had just one more location, which was the exterior car in the car. That was the same thing. ISO 500. I didn't even use the ND at this point. f2.8. There were some issues, of course, with the handheld movements, but you know, nothing with the lighting or exposure or anything like that. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the color. I had a very basic note sheet. First of all, like this was the color correction, which I did some exposure adjustments with the HDR wheels. I did some white balance adjustments because the ND filter runs about 500 Kelvin too hot. I did have some like you know, blue in the shadows, a bit orange in the highlights in the mids situation. And I did have some, I have a CST, which again, ITU 709 paired with the Sony S-Log2 and the ZV-E10 sense. And I did have a group post clip, which was like, this was the important part. I didn't even use these two, so I can just actually delete those. I did have I did do everything with the grain dehancer, by the way. I had a grain inhalation node, which did again help a lot. I did have some vignette going on. I can show you the thing. I'm always doing, by the way, I always have grain inhalation and vignetting in another node, and I have my film emulation in another node. Again, you can see the grain. There's a bit of grain, not too little, not too much, as you can see. It was 35mm ISO 50 grain. I think it was enough for the project. Halation, again, it was a 35mm halation. Then just the vignette, which I do love vignettes because it does help, you know, to focus your eye into the whole thing. If we were to take the vignette out, it just does a lot. Vignette does a lot. Always love vignette. As far as the dehancer node goes, I used Ektachrome for this, which I think, like, I'm in love with Ektachrome. I really do like that. if I were to show you this, like color boost does, you have to be really careful with color boost in Ektachrome because you can so easily overdo that. I did that too, so you know, experience talking in here. If we were to like do something like that's like way too oversaturated and we wanted to go to like really like 26 or something like that, was cool. I did do some contrast boost because as you can see, it was really not contrasty, and contrast boost there. I did have the film compression, which is, you know, rolls off the highlights, pretty cool. I did expand it because if like my blacks were there, I just wanted a bit more blacks in my blacks, so I did expand it. And I just used the Kodak 2383 print film, which, you know, just cooled it up a little bit. Exposure just a little up, bang, you know, just a little tiny bit, and then a little less contrast. And other than that, color density a bit higher. And I did actually use color head, so this was, I think, the biggest change since I made my first dehancer video. I use color head for everything now. It's just so useful, dude. As you can see, I just cooled it down a little here. Like there's a difference. You see that, like it's a bit cooler, and I did have like some tones, shadow tones and stuff like that in there. I don't know, maybe if we take a look at this, like you see it in the skin tones, and then you see it also in like the shadows, I think, and in the general sense that it's a bit cooler, but it's like not a super like, oh, it's cool in your face cool. It's like very naturalistic cool, which I think was cool. Okay, this was basically the whole thing, you know. I just like these outside clips, exterior clips were very, I wouldn't say easy, but you know, very straightforward. And I don't know, I think I got used to the whole thing. And I do think I'm good at this stuff, which, you know, someone's gonna come in and it's gonna be like, oh, you suck, dude, blah. And I'm gonna be like, you, this is my video, which I'm gonna cut this out probably, but again, yeah. Best one that I wanted to show you is this one, because for the post clip, again, using the same stuff, and I didn't want it to do any like different post clips for the interior scenes. I don't know why. Maybe I should have done that, I don't know why, but I wanted to go with this, which honestly was hard. It was hard. Like without the HDR reels, you just add some HDR reels to that, and then like if I were to turn off the gray inhalation, you can see the noise there. It's just a lot. Like this is where the better camera would have been super helpful, but again, not complaining. HDR reels did help a lot with the whole, you know, adding some contrast into this thing, because if you look at the scopes, like it is very compressed, and I wanted to like open it up in here, and you know, I think I did the best I could at that moment, and it was like this. Maybe if I were to do it right now, I would have gone about it differently, but you know, this was it. I did not change the white balance in this one because, you know, if we change the white balance, I did have a very balanced image, I thought, in that moment. That's why I think this was fine. If we look at the color, I didn't add anything in the color too, and I did something weird because I don't know why I did it at the CST node, but I did it wrong at some point, and somehow it did work very well. So am I happy with the result? And the thing is, I am happy with the result that we have created, because the thing is, this was the limitations was clear. You're shooting with ZV-E10, you're shooting at just daylight, or just like basically kind of like a house light, location light situation. You're not lighting anything, and I'm confident in saying that we have used the camera and the post-production to its 120% to its capabilities, and I did give everything that I've had in my talent wise, and I am really like happy with the result in that sense. Could it have been done better if we had like a couple of lights and I don't know, an FX30, more than the FX30, I think lights. I think yes, but again, the limitations in gear do like help make you more creative in a sense. I do think that I am a bit past that point, and I'm in this point where like my gear actually limits my creativity because I'm pushing it already to its 100%, 220% of the limits. But again, like, that's gonna come with time. But I think that's all to say, like, gear doesn't always matter. Sometimes it does matter, and it's really cool because you can do a lot more stuff with it. But again, you gotta make do with what you gotta make do. But yeah, I guess that's that.